Hello, and thank you for checking out 15 Rock's website. This presentation is called The Great Climate Revaluation. So let me start with a few questions. Do you believe that action is required to avoid climate change? Do you believe corporate climate pledges represent a material commitment? If you answered yes to the previous two questions, then what is the cost of this commitment, or what is the liability of climate? This is the question that 15 Rock seeks to help answer. Right now, because climate cannot be priced or not priced easily, investors and companies are not making decisions based on this risk. Whether you've made a pledge or not, every company and every investor is exposed to climate risk. This is an unpriced risk on every company's financial statements. So let's dig into this a little more. What is the cost of a pledge? So if you look at Boeing, for them to get to net zero, and if you price it using a curve derived from the ICE Exchange's carbon pricing curve as of this week, Boeing's pledge represents a $13 billion liability and a 9.5 change in shareholder equity negatively. And Shell has a 50% change in shareholder equity and a negative 21% EBITDA hit on a $200 billion liability. Now, the argument many people can make is that this number might not be right. And just like everyone can make an argument about a company's value or stock, we agree that based on our pricing, this is 13 billion, but the value could be 12 billion. It could be 20 billion. It could be anything up until like $1. The question doesn't matter. I mean, we have to find the value, but the challenge is that there is a value. Anyone who implies that there's no value is effectively saying that there's no action required. And 15 Rock helps figure out this value. So why doesn't anyone see this problem right now? Investors do not price what they cannot price. And the 2008 crisis is a great example of that. A few firms were able to price it and put the effort to understand the risk and then got ahead of everyone. In fact, they turned the situation to their advantage, whereas others who couldn't were effectively blind until it took them out. And unfortunately, no one can really stop climate change unless we actually take action. No amount of government lobbying or pushback is actually going to prevent this problem. This will happen in our lifetimes. So, what can we do to mitigate this risk? And the only way we see it being done is two approaches. You have to first value and understand what's at risk. And there's different models, there's different pricing. We partner with many different industry leaders to build scenarios. We also have a state of the art solution where you can build your own scenario with the help of AI to fill it in. And you can then price your company and your risk against those different scenarios and see which scenario you're the most vulnerable in and start addressing those. The other side of it is once you know what's at risk, you need to figure out an action plan to get there. And 15 Rock is the only transition platform that's been, and the longest transition platform that has over 20,000 projects from everyone from Fortune 500 companies to regional and sector specific companies. So 15 Rock is a climate risk and custom valuation platform. So, like I mentioned earlier, we focus on the analytics, on the risk and valuation. Think of the financials and the business case and the ROI of being good to the environment and managing climate risk. And the other is we are like a Trello or Asana or Jira or any HR tool where we track the projects and initiatives and KPIs in order to mitigate that risk. Collectively, those are very powerful. So on the analytics side, we can either take companies' actual emissions or forecast them. We can add those either as their pledge dates, or just you can overwrite that and add your own pledge date to value what the risk is. And we also allow for thousands of scenarios to be managed and dynamically used to assess companies on our platform. We combine all of this to create climate aware financial models and ROI business cases. On the other side of it is the data. We are, like I mentioned earlier, the first transition platform. We've been around for almost 5 years, and we have almost 20,000 projects on our system that's being used to track hundreds of millions of tons of reduction. And we get our data either through companies directly or through a mix of humans and machine learning. So why now? Why should you care today? Environmental considerations are an all-time high. Customers, governments, and other business partners do care about it. Investors are becoming more and more vocal because they realize they're going to be exposed to this risk. And this risk is not a risk that's 50 years out anymore. The financial consequences of this are going to be very quick, and most of our clients are projecting this is going to be within the next year or two. Liabilities increase over time. So inaction is actually not rewarded here, as pledge targets are missed, as action is delayed. The hill that you have to climb just gets higher, and as a result of also carbon pricing going up and governments getting more aggressive, this is going to be a much harder hill to climb if you're going to try to do it in the 11th hour. And also, when like for example, with Boeing, if you look at that $13 billion liability, or at Shell, $200 billion liability, you can then also start to look at projects that can help you mitigate. So if Boeing can do a project for $1 million, for example, or partner with a company and work on a solution for $1 million that helps offset 50% of their emissions, that is a phenomenal use of capital. And right now, they're just not able to see how that all connects. So these decisions aren't being made, and these innovative solutions are not coming to market fast enough. So what is our pricing model? It's kind of like we believe in full transparency. So we charge $4.99 per user per month, and we try to make this price so small businesses can use us as well as large enterprises. And it's just the additional users just collaborate more effectively together. If you don't know what to do around projects or curve building or risk management, you can hire independent consultants on our platform that are the best at their specific niches, as opposed to getting a one-stop shop company that may not be good at everything, but they're mediocre at everything combined. You can get the best of the best and choose which ones you want, and we only take a 5.5% platform fee. This includes the transaction fee, so it's very, very cheap, and more cheaper than other um, freelancing or consulting platforms. We're actually cheaper than even using recruiters. And our last option, which we see a lot of uptake on, is custom solutions. We understand that everyone's journey is different, and we build custom solutions using our people and our platform and our partnerships to get you to market faster and more economically. So the platform already exists. It's at app.15rock.com, or you can go to 15rock.com, and at the top right, click on Get Started, and it'll take you to our platform. And our team. Our team is a collection of risk valuation experts, software engineers, and climate scientists. We combine everyone together to focus on the singular goal of transition, risk, and valuation. And finally, our vision is to become the leader in enabling companies and investors to analyze their transition progress. Effectively, we want to help you look forward and build that future state. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me or on the website. Have a great day.